Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, where women share their dreams, struggles and successes, how they were able to persevere despite the fear and create the life they want and deserve. If you're looking for inspiration to move you past where you normally would stop, then this is the show for you. Here's your host, Melissa Banks.
Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm excited you could be with us today. I'm your host, Melissa Banks. Today, we continue our special series featuring the speakers from Imagine the Possibilities Virtual Conference, coming January 29, 2022. These amazing women will share how they refuse to give up despite the circumstance. Our guest today is author, entrepreneur, Patrece D. Johnson. Welcome, Patrece, to the show.
Hello, Melissa. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to talk with you, and thank you for being here today. I want us to just begin, Patrece, at the beginning. Let's just talk a little bit about your amazing entrepreneurial journey. I know that you've been building your business and building your dream for a long time, so congratulations on all of your success. You have set some records, you have jumped over some boundaries, and you have been explosive, and we're excited and so proud of you. I want us to talk today, Patrece, about the last 2 years, 2020 and 2022. When you think of that and you think of your journey, and I know as an entrepreneur, those 2 years have been different than any other years that we've been building our business. So how was it for you, and what changes did you have to make in your business during that time?
Wow is what I have to say. I would have to say that I'm smiling because when I think about it, it really was somewhat, I guess the results that happened were so much of a surprise than it was with me going toward what I desired. Because many of us didn't know what was going to happen in 2020. And so when 2020 started, January, my mind was set for where I was going, and I was just clear about operating in that obedience according to what God had. So when everything started unfolding in 2020, especially with that pandemic, when it hit us in the state in the month of March, God had pretty much prepared me based upon the activity he had me doing the previous 2 months, and I had no idea.
Okay, so talk to us about how you maneuvered that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Talk to us a little bit about how you maneuvered that. It came out of nowhere. It was scary. We didn't know what it was like. I know what it was like for me. It just took me into a whole different world. So you said a couple of things right there. You said preparation, which is a word that's been coming up a lot for me over the last few days, and it's preparation. You were going through a preparation without knowing it, but you were being prepared for what you had to face. So when you found yourself at that place, it's the pandemic, things are shutting down, but you're still building your business, and you didn't throw up your hands and say, I quit. You did something different. What did you do different?
Well, I began to, where the world turned is where I turned. And so what do I mean? I'm an introvert by nature. And so I actually would have to say the fact of actually going inside, everybody going inside their homes and really having to work from the eyes of the computer, these devices, for me, I began to see the blessing in that because I still saw how we were able to connect. And it was like God was using that. And I remember where I would have been physically in front of somebody, there was a situation where that individual could not meet me even before the pandemic. And God had me to do something with my device to still follow through with her with that appointment. And he reminded me of that when COVID hit. And he said, this is it. This is the platform. Run with it. So it was not about me freezing up. It was about me saying, okay, here's a way. here's a way. That's all I was thinking, is that there was a way. There was a way to do this. And I saw it, and I had already been doing it before the pandemic hit. And so, Melissa, I ran with it. That's what I did.
And you had some major success. But, you know, as an entrepreneur and somebody working for their dream, when things change like that, it's you could say, you know what, the easiest road would be to throw your hands up and say, I want to do something. I'm just going to not do it anymore. But instead, you said, you know what, there's a blessing in this change. See, I can relate to that, Patrece, because for me in the event industry, you can imagine it was a big deal, right, when it happened. And I really had to figure it out. I had to figure out what direction was I going to go into, because so many people in my industry literally did say, I don't want any part of this anymore. But I had to make the necessary changes, which were brand new to me. However, in your world, you have been prepared and you were ready to push the button and say, let's do it. So you had some major success in all of that. So coming out of 2020, though, Patrece, and leading into 2021, we had a lot of high expectations for 2021 because none of us thought that we would still be dealing with COVID and these changes. So 2021 arrived, and you're still going strong through 2021. How did you make all of that happen without giving up? Because I know there were some struggles along the way. It didn't all just happen, so you had to do some things. How did you make all of that happen?
Oh, this is so good. This is what came to mind when you were talking and reiterating some of the things I said. I just always remember this thought of what would I do when my back is against the wall. I've always remembered thinking that way, and I just remember someone pushing me into a corner, in a corner of the wall, even in your house. Just think about that. And I remember I would always say, I better not have heels on. They better wish I don't have heels on, because I wore heels all the time. And my thought process was I would take my heel and I would dig in the sheetrock to make a way. And that thought process has always been there. So it was like me thinking, I've got to think of a way. Like, there's a way. That's what I was thinking. And so this time, 2021 coming, I was hit with COVID as well as my daughter. And that was different. I mean, that was different like never before, because that was a situation where I couldn't do any of the things that God was laying out to me. I could not move. I could not think. I could not do anything but simply exist and take care of myself in the best state as possible. And what I would have to say is that I began to, even in that, think about, well, God, what is this about? What would you have me to do? So to think defeat was not the case, I began to look at it and say, okay, God, so from this place of where I am, how would you have me to operate? And he told me, I want you to operate spiritually. So as a man thinketh, so is he. So I began to think about the things that I desire and began to put systems in place that will cause things to still flourish if I was not able to physically move. And he helped me to create systems even more to do that. And that's what happened. So I think, Melissa, it's more of the process of thinking, not in defeat, but thinking there's got to be a way. And when we do that, it reminds me of the scripture, Matthew 7:7, I think it is, ask, seek, and knock. I mean, if you keep asking, seeking, and knocking, the answer is coming. The enemy wants us to give up, and that's what we're not going to do.
You know, everything that you said takes me right back to what I talk about all the time. It's the mindset. So you can have a mindset of, oh, this is too hard. Oh, this horrible experience. Me and my daughter are sick. No, your mindset could have been, this is it for me. I'm doing something else from here. But your mindset said, okay, Lord, I'm in this place. Now, how do I maneuver through where I am now? See, I believe that it's the mindset. If you don't give your mind, if you start thinking quit, if you start thinking this is too hard, that's exactly what will happen. But your thought didn't go there. It could have easily have gone there as a mother, as a caretaker. Your baby, you talk about her all the time, right? She is down with it, and you're down with it. So you definitely could have said, you know what, I got to do something else. But you did. Yeah. You said, how do I get through it? That's the key. It's the mindset. Let's talk about your daughter a little bit now, Patrece, because I know you talk a lot about your why and how important it is to just identify your why. So share with our audience why that's important, first of all, to know what your why is, identify it, know it without a doubt, and then how to stay focused on it, even when things are getting hard.
Oh, my gosh, that's so good. This is good. So I would have to say my why was my daughter, and it started with her name. I remember being pregnant with her and walking outside just to take some fresh air in, and I remember I had a name for her, and I was going to call her Charity. And I heard the Spirit of the Lord speak to me that night and say, and she shall be called Destiny. And he said with an I at the end, not a Y. And I was thinking, wow, okay, so I know I'm not tripping here. So I did. And he said that I stood for I am. I want you to know that there is something to this. So it was crazy because I began to build my business. The first entrepreneurship business, I began to build it with her name involved. And I would have to say that there's truly, we say this, we hear this a lot, cliche-ish, there's power in the name. However, there's truth. There is power in the name. And what God began to show me was that I had my daughter Destiny in the physical, but also I was having destiny. And so as a man thinketh, so is he. So what you believe is what it will be. And I believe that. Now, what has kept me throughout the years is destiny. It's my daughter's in front of me. However, it was the destiny, knowing that there was truly a destiny for me, that God had it, and I had to trust him. I went through quite a few things, but my daughter was the physical stance in front of me. And we hear it all the time, how you have to have your goals in front of you. And a lot of times our goals are they're so obvious that we look over them. And my daughter was the obvious. My daughter was the obvious of the focal point of what needed to be in front of me. And he had her in front of me at every level. And we had obstacles to cross over, health-wise, just a lot of different things. And it just excites me to see just the road of where he's taken me and her through, and to see this elevation, to see what has happened as a result of it. So I say this, your why it's going to be defined more. It's going to be more clarified over time. You're going to get more understanding of it, but you must always seek clarity in it. Almost always get the understanding of the why, because the why, it has to be strong enough to keep you in the race. And God knew my why was my daughter. Destiny.
Wow, that is so good. That is so good, Patrece. Let me ask you, Patrece, I talk all the time about being an entrepreneur or going for a big dream. When you're going for a big dream, it gets hard sometimes. It gets overwhelming. Sometimes when you're a person like yourself that pour into people, you can get overwhelmed as well. You can get just plain tired as well. So when you find yourself in that place, when you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, feeling like there's a lot going on, this is too much, tired, what do you do for Patrece to get you back focused and be able to keep going?
You know what I realized? I had to learn that, first of all, understanding that there was power in me being an introvert and understanding that. That was the aha moment for me, because most people think they don't understand that they're an introvert, and because they don't understand it, they think that when they go within the walls and they only go to themselves, they begin to take what society says that is taking you into a depression. But in understanding that I was an introvert, I understood that my energy came from within, and it came from me having my quiet time, my quiet space within myself, gathering myself to hear God. And some people who can't deal with that, you've got to understand the differences. And for me, I had to understand that that was a powerful place to be. And I began to do more of that. So it was very important. I come to find out that when I didn't do that is when I was not my best. And so when I understood that that was how I gained my strength, that was a part of me that energized me, I began to do more of it. And protect that space.
Okay, Patrece, let's talk about Imagine the Possibilities virtual conference. We're so excited to have all of this fire, all of this little tidbit that we just talked about at the conference and for you to be sharing with our audience that day. So talk to us a little bit about what it feels like to be a part of it and what our audience can expect from you at the Imagine the Possibilities virtual conference.
Wow. Okay, so think about the name Imagine the Possibilities. Imagine, the greatest visual board that we all have is our imagination. And so when we think of something being possible, we think of unlimited. We think of just extreme, right? So that's what I think of when I think of the Imagine the Possibilities conference. And I just keep seeing fire when I see that conference. I keep seeing fire. And one of the major things that I want to say to each of you, that I know that what I'm bringing to the table is going to be the power in releasing your past and understanding the beauty that's coming within it. Okay? I mean, the power in releasing your past and the beauty that's coming from it. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. So that is what I'm most excited about, because it's just something about that. And I'm going to say this without kind of spilling the beans, but you really don't know how heavy the weight is of the past until it's gone. You don't really know how heavy, you just don't understand it until it's released. Until it's released. Not you thinking about it, but when it's released. You understand, you understood then, that's when you understand the weight of it. Yes, that it has.
Woo-wee. I'm so excited. I'm sitting on the edge of my seat right now for the rest of what we will hear at the Imagine the Possibilities conference. I'm so excited to have you and the fire that we will be bringing that day. Everyone there that will be hearing it, be part of it, listen to the replay will be changed. I can't wait to hear the rest of that. So before we wrap up, Patrece, leave some final words with our audience, the people who are listening to you right now. Just a final few words for them.
Okay, so come to terms with where you are. Acknowledge those truths and then feel it. That's what I want to say to you. Come to terms with where you are. Acknowledge those truths and then feel it. Imagine the possibility.
I love it. Thank you so much, Patrece. Before you go, though, let our audience know how they can stay connected with you.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes, please. Find me on Instagram or Facebook at Patrece D. Johnson, or at my website at PatriceDJohnson.com. I'm excited about connecting with each of you.
Look, thank you again, Patrece, for being here today. We can't wait to hear from you at the Imagine the Possibilities virtual conference. Again, the conference is being held on January 29th, 2022. You can always get your information, your registration. Go to themelissabanks.com. I wanted to say thank you to our audience for tuning in to today's edition of Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. We're excited to share this time with you. Again, for Imagine the Possibilities or just to stay connected with us, go to themelissabanks.com. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, saying, remember, all your dreams are possible. Believe in yourself, work hard, and don't quit. Until next time, thank you for choosing Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. Enjoy your day.